Hi guys, so welcome back to a new Boom Beach video. I'm here in a new apartment. I recently moved and that's kind of why I've been kind of distant from our Discord server and just a lot of things happening all at once. So hopefully you guys have some grace with me. I'm here on my HQ25 account and today we're going to be discussing your favorite topic, Boom Beach updates. And I want to talk, first of all, before I jump into the video, I just did a video recorded all the way through and then realized I wasn't recording my screen. So now we're going through again. So we have a bunch of loots. We have a couple player bases left. We had just started our barrages, which was a 9 million gold upgrade, which is insane. So let's try to get a bigger defense than this little rocket launcher, which is what we had to settle for at the end of the video that I had just recorded. Okay. Let's talk about updates. And also I left all these hard bases, so we're gonna have to attack some of these harder bases. Okay, let's talk about updates though. So what I want to discuss in this video is the possibility of future updates, like what they will bring, what to expect, and definitely what not to expect. I feel like people have this narrow-mindedness when it comes to updates, and I wanna talk to you about kind of what I'm expecting in future updates. I also wanna mention I do not have any insider information that you don't already know. I'm not trying to spill information onto you. This is all coming from 7 years of playing Boom Beach, listening to Supercell, being a content creator, seeing the type of upgrades or updates they bring out into the game, and kind of talking about that from there. So let's jump into it. Now, I first want to mention, I know a lot of players are a little disappointed with the HQ25 update. You know, it doesn't bring anything for lower level players. In every HQ update, we get people say that. Like, man, I'm in HQ 14. This update doesn't bring anything. Like, it looks hype, but, you know, it doesn't really matter to me. Well, I think it's important to notice that Boom Beach is bringing out content for those players who have already went through the entire content of Boom Beach. You know, if you're in HQ 14, you have a couple years left of content in Boom Beach. You have a couple years of upgrading stuff and upgrading your HQ, trying to get to that maxed out stage. If you're a HQ 23 or 24, there's really nothing much you can do in Boom Beach. I mean, you could of course do warships and operation bases, but at the end of the day, you don't have any more main base content left. So I feel like Boom Beach, as they are bringing out new HQ levels, that's what they're focusing on. They're focusing on that maxed out player that hasn't been able to do anything on their main base for a while, and they're trying to give them more content to play and keep them happy. Now, I don't want to speculate too much about why I think they want to keep top level or top maxed out players happy, but they have a lot of data. I just want to say that. Boom Beach has a ton of data around pretty much every aspect of the game, and all Supercell games have this amount of data built into the game. They collect a lot of information about the players that play the game. I'm not talking about personal information or anything like that. I'm talking about like game information, like, oh, they have this many HQ22s that play this amount of time a day on average, and they spend this much diamonds, and they have just crazy amounts of stuff. So they know what players want, they know what players play. So if they're bringing out warships updates, it means the majority of Boom Beach players, or a bunch of Boom Beach players, are playing warships pretty frequently. If they're bringing out Mega Crab updates, which I know they aren't, they're probably seeing a ton of success with Mega Crab. So that's kind of where this discussion starts. It's Boom Beach has data, they know what people want, and they are not afraid to use that data to allocate their resources to that specific area while kind of neglecting other areas is kind of what I've envisioned. Now, I don't know if they're neglecting the task force side of things. I know that I think that's the last person, so we're kind of stuck here. But you know what? We still have our hot pots. Let's do some Human Strikes Back. Task force stuff. You know, we haven't had a new operation for a very long time. Duplexity was a couple years ago. That was really cool, but I don't think a lot of players play operations. Now, there are some high-level players, some really cool operations. A ton of players still play operations, but very few I feel like play at that elite level that are attacking Duplexity. So I mean, they can bring out a new operation, but like there's not that many players playing operations, or they might not see that many players playing operations, so they might be saying, you know, what's the point of doing this? So that kind of brings me on to the next point. It's kind of what can they bring out into Boom Beach, into the main base, because that's what I play, that's what I like the most, just playing the main base. What can they bring out? Well, I would discount any sort of infrastructure changes. Like, you know, warships was a huge infrastructure investment for Boom Beach. They spent probably like a year and a half working on warships, and we didn't really get any updates in that time period. And the community really hurt in that time period. Warships was really cool, but I don't see them making any big infrastructure changes. And when I say infrastructure changes, I mean something really serious into the game like that. Some super big event, you know, task force versus task force. I don't see that happening, and I don't think it will, ever. It's just too much time and effort spent to make something worth it. And they probably have data. I mean, they probably like check Clash of Clans data and see, okay, well, even if we spent 2 years making task force versus task forces, you know, 10% of Clash of Clans players play Clan Wars. So why do we see task force versus task force any differently? Now, I'm not saying 10% actually do, but that might be going through the thought process on what kind of stuff they want to bring up. Okay, so for lower level players, stuff I do see coming out, maybe a new troop. I could see that coming out. Something small, maybe like a new defense. Maybe, I think it'd be really cool if they brought out a 5th statue type, like a yellow statue. I don't know what it would be. I think it'd be super cool, and all players could get it. And it'd be a lot of fun. That is something I could see them bringing out for lower level players. You know, higher level players, they're always going to be bringing out new HQ levels. I think that's pretty, I don't want to say easy for them to do, but I think they kind of have that down to a science now. They know exactly what they need to do to bring out a new HQ level, and I think they definitely are gonna do that in the future with HQ 26, of course. So they want to keep their top level players happy. Their maxed out accounts, because the maxed out accounts, let's be honest, have probably spent the most amount of money in the game. Now, I don't know that for a fact. That's just me kind of speculating, but I really feel like they are the ones spending the money. And I know that lower level players also spend money, but I feel like the majority of people that use code Cosmic are probably on the higher end of people that spend money. Okay, this is stage number 6, and it's honestly not going very well, but I know exactly what I need to do to fix it. I think it should be pretty easy. He's gonna lose a bunch of troops to these mines, which is fine. Yeah, nothing really besides that. I think events can also use a huge revamp. I think the cycle of evil events can get a little dull and boring, and I think they are a little dull and boring, if I'm being honest. I'm not really a huge fan of the way those events are set up. And I mean, they can bring out a new cycle of evil event, but I feel like after a month, it's just going to go back to normal, and people are just going to be bored of that event. So I don't know if it's worth the investment they would have to spend to make that worth it. I mean, a new HQ level brings out so much new content. It brings out so many new upgrades these higher level players can get, and it's just really nice for them. But a new event is something that can die pretty fast. So I think they probably won't add a new event, but I think it'd be a lot of fun. As for other types of content in the game, I don't really know. It's really hard for me to think of stuff that Boom Beach can do to add new content, new cool content. But you know what? They've surprised me so many times. So, you know, they can really come out with anything, and I'll be probably pretty happy about any sort of Boom Beach update. We had 2 major updates in the course of like 2 years, and one of them was the Scorch update, and then like 2 years later we had warships. And you know, they've had huge updates before with huge amount of delays. and it really hurts the community. So that's why I say any update is better for us. So I think also the new Boom Beach community manager is doing a better job. I don't want to say than the old one, because I'm pretty sure they all still work for Supercell, but they just all have their own talents, and I really like the way Nuno has been handling the game. I mean, we've had some pretty incredible Boom Beach community managers, and we have been blessed with, I mean, Supercell does such a good job hiring community managers, probably training their community managers also, and that is something we can definitely all be thankful for. But anyway, this base looks kind of rough, and I don't really know if I'm gonna be able to defeat Hammerman here. When I say this base, I don't mean my base, I mean Hammerman's fleet. I have two maxed out hot pots, and I'm not able to take down Hammerman. You know what? This wasn't supposed to be a Hammerman video. Let's see if this last player has logged off. Nope, still online. That's okay. Let's do base, not an NPC base, a resource reward base using Grenadiers. Now this is something I've never ever done before. Grenadiers on an resource base. I don't know why I keep saying NPC base, but yeah, something I've never done before. Let's see what happens. I also would love Boom Beach to revamp resource bases. I hate resource bases. They suck. They're so boring to attack. There's not really any content. They haven't made any huge changes to resource bases ever. I mean, what you're seeing is pretty much first iteration of resource base. I mean, when Boom Beach dropped, this was such a cool idea, but it's definitely lost a little bit of the fire. It's not quite what it used to be. And when I say used to be, I mean the excitement around resource bases and what can they do to resource bases to spice them up. I mean, just simple things like, one, increase the HQ it can get upgraded to. Have it upgrade to HQ 25. Get the new defense levels in resource bases. Bring prototypes to resource bases. There's a ton of stuff they can do to make it better, and I feel like they haven't really touched them. Again, they might be seeing the data and seeing nobody's really playing at resource bases, but it's kind of like a chicken and egg problem. You might be looking at the data and saying nobody's attacking resource bases, why would we make a resource base update? But at the same time, you might be like, okay, nobody's attacking resource bases, probably because resource bases suck. But if we bring out an update, maybe people will start playing again. It's tough. There's a lot of things Boom Beach has to balance, and I think they're doing a pretty good job of it now. They definitely have hurt in the past, but I'm liking the direction Boom Beach is on. I feel like it's going up, so that's good. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on future Boom Beach updates, and I'll talk to you guys in the next Boom Beach video. Bye.